opportunities only look like risk today, and they look like opportunities in retrospect. And so like, if something has risk on it, that's usually why there's an opportunity.
Yeah. You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
You know, we're all gonna die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living."
Life is about risk. If you play it safe in life, you ain't gonna have much of a life. If you play it safe, you won't have much of a life. Life is risk. It takes courage to pursue your dream.
Take the biggest risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time. And in your 20s, you can get so scared and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking in your 20s in particular, dead wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
Believe in yourself. Don't fear failure. Dream big. Work hard. Stay positive. Enjoy the journey.
One of the requirements for you to succeed greatly in life is you're going to have to move out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to take risks where there's a great possibility of failure, at least in the short term.
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable.
What's better? Take eight big risks in life, sin once, miss the mark once, but get achieve seven out of 8. Or take 100 risks and achieve 8 of them. My hunch is that if there's a God, he's saying, go for the 100 and get 8, rather than 8 and get 7. If you're not taking enough risk to sin or miss the mark, which is what sin means, to fail, what are you doing? Don't come back with even money. Come back with safe bets.
Only risk takers win. By definition, if you are the same as everybody else, if you're not taking a risk over and above what everybody else is taking, by definition, you can't win. If you're doing exactly what everybody else is doing, how can you possibly win? You have to be different to win. You have to take risks.
You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel ready to do the things that scare you. You'll never feel ready to start your business. You'll never feel ready because it is all outside of your comfort zone. So naturally, you should feel discomfort because change requires lots of risk. But if you want a different life, at some point, you're gonna have to change. At some point, you're gonna have to jump off of the cliff of the unknown, and there's no way around it. But I don't know about you, I would much rather jump into the unknown to hopefully create the life of my dreams rather than just sit around and deal with a life that's mediocre.
Take that first step. Do whatever it is that you thought you couldn't do, and don't be afraid, because that is the most important moment in your life. And then you'll realize it's not so bad. Okay, people are making fun of me, I failed, but they never tried anything. I at least tried it, and now I have an idea for my next one. It wasn't so bad, you know? But if you never make that first step, I don't care, the wisdom of Solomon won't be able to help you, right? You'll always be stopping before you can. So you've got to have the guts to make that first step, and then the doors will open for you.
Keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Want to shoot a better golf game? Quit golfing with your friends. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. Just think of how you can. Forget about whether you can or not. You know you can. You just have to find out how. Begin to visualize yourself as a risk taker, and then telling yourself that you are one.
See, you want to really begin to stretch yourself. You want to become a risk taker. You want to raise the bar on yourself. Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low-life living, low-risk living. This, God said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there?
You're screwed no matter what you do. There's no secure path forward. Give it up. It's risk everywhere. You think, oh my God, that's terrible. It's like, yes, except for two things. You can pick your risk. That's the first thing. So you get to pick your poison. That's something. And second, you're a lot tougher than you think. So even though there's risk everywhere, if you confront it forthrightly, what you'll find is that you can actually handle the risk. And that's the security.
Instead of seeking to avoid risk, seek to manage the risk in your life. What does manage the risk mean? It means weigh the consequences of failure according to this risk, but also weigh the benefits of success. If the benefits of success are greater than the consequences of failure, then oftentimes the risk is worth it.
Remember, your ability to confidently take calculated risks in the direction of your goals will ultimately lead you toward success. So before you take a risk, always ask yourself the worst possible option question. What's the worst thing that can possibly happen if this risk doesn't work out? If you cannot afford the worst possible thing that could happen, don't do it in the first place.
No risk, no Ferrari. And we know this to be true. If you want to win the game of life, if you want to take it to the top, you have to be able to sacrifice who you are today for who you want to become. And for a lot of people, they may just be comfortable with their 9-to-5, and I completely get it and I validate it. If that's what you want to live and if you're happy, so be it. But I'm willing to neglect the money in the short term and not get that paycheck just because I understand that if you plant enough seeds in due time, you will reap massive rewards.
You want to begin to take some chances. You want to begin to challenge yourself and make it okay to fail and learn from your failures. Don't allow fear of failure and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.
So at those times where you're questioning if you have anything left, no, a day from then, a week from then, a month from them, a year from them, you will never remember the discomfort of the pain. You will always remember the pride of the accomplishment. That lives on. That's why pain is temporary. Pride is forever, guys. You give it your all, you get it all. Tenfold.
Don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. Boy, that never goes out of style, does it? I mean, think about it. If you're gonna do something, if you've chosen to do something, whatever it is, easy, hard, if you give it your all and you don't half-ass it, win, lose, draw, get what you want, don't get what you want, whatever the outcome is, if you don't half-ass it, at least you're not going to have to wonder, oh, would the outcome have been different? What if I did give it my all? And boy, wondering that is what keeps us up at night. So, that's a value that stuck with me. Don't half-ass it. I think it's one we can all take in our hip pocket.
Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And it's like because they don't think you can do nothing they can't do.
Exactly, bingo.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like it's a lonely, scary, dangerous pursuit, and you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless. You got to be relentless.
Whatever it is that you want to do, there's going to be risk in your life, and risk is a necessary component of progress.
No growth comes from being comfortable. And you know what else happens when you take big risks? You grow. You grow into the person that you're meant to become. And when you grow, you can't help but create a beautiful life.
When you get to the edge, your brain will always tell you to step back. It's always going to tell you to step back because you can fall. Always. It's going to tell you step back. Because before you fail, the last time you did this, you saw someone else fail. You could hurt. You could be off work. It's going to tell you. It's designed to keep you safe. So you have to be willing to play between your brain and your soul. And on some days, you got to just listen to your soul. And you got to say, I'm going to leap. I'm going to get to the edge. Most people are at the edge, and you're standing at the edge, and you're watching everyone else fly. You're at the edge, watching someone else live, wondering what it's going to be like when you jump without ever jumping. And I'm just here to tell you, jump. Because only three things can happen. You're either going to jump and fly, or you're going to jump and fall on something soft, or you're going to fall down hard. Either way, you're going to get back up. You already know you got what it takes to get back up. Your greatest fear is not that you will fall. Your greatest fear is that you will live a full life and never fly, that you never leaped. You're not afraid of dying. You're afraid of dying before the world sees who you really are, before they really get your fingerprint, before they really feel your breath, before they really get your contribution, before they really feel you. That's what you don't want to happen. You don't want to leave this place without us knowing you were here. All I'm doing is giving my dream a chance. And I'm not extraordinary. You don't get off the hook. You don't get to be let off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make one more extraordinary decision.
I just did it. It cost me everything, but eventually, God is very good, man, when he sees you take a leap of faith. He supplies you everything you need. Now, it's gonna cost you something, but most people are not willing to pay what it costs to go after your dream, because you're gonna have to hurt a little bit. And most people don't like being uncomfortable. If you don't want to be uncomfortable, please do not pursue success, because success is a very uncomfortable feeling. And I just learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
It's risky in general. It's so risky that all of us are going to die. So why not just actually go for the fullest potential and the fullest possibilities that life has to offer you? Expand your horizons, expand your mindset, develop new networks, develop new connections, develop new friendships, develop new business opportunities, study, learn from the best in the game. Go study the mentors of old, go read the Holy Scriptures, get involved in developing your mind, get educated. And in a few years' time, you'll look back and you'll realize you're a completely different person.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers, free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. Now, if you're going to change, you know there's only one time to do it? Right now. Right now.
Everything has an associated risk with it. No matter how safe whatever you're doing is, no matter how stable and consistent it is, there's always a small outside risk that something could go wrong. And similarly, everything you do, there's a small outside chance that something could go really, really right. So I think people see luck as just this like winning the lottery or something like that. I think you can actually manipulate luck in your life. You can put yourself in situations where you increase the odds of good things happening. Similarly, you can put yourself in situations where you increase the odds of bad things happening, right? So I think really luck is it's actually just risk management.
Right.
And people who don't ever think about risk management, they just kind of sit around and blame things on luck.
I'm not sure anybody is taking enough risk from 20 to 30. Yeah. It is the most interesting thing that I've been thinking about, which is it is never more practical to be disproportionately risky than from 22 to 30, yet everybody goes the other way because now they're the real world and it's time to prove something to their parents, to themselves, to everybody else, and everybody goes conservative. It is a huge mistake. We need to flip it upside down.
Says to laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to a risk appearing sentimental. To reach out to others is to risk getting involved. To show your feelings is to risk exposing yourself. To place your ideas, your dreams before the crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To hope is to risk pain. To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken. It absolutely must be taken, because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing does nothing and has nothing. You may avoid suffering and sorrow, but you simply cannot learn, feel, change, grow, live, or love. Chained by your certitudes, you will be a slave. Only the person who risks is free.
Live dangerously. Build your life where it might erupt. Risk is the price of self-creation. I love this quote because it gets at the core of something very psychologically true, which is that to become yourself, to do anything that is unique or noteworthy or differentiated, you have to risk something. Any process of discovering who you are requires you to risk being disliked by others, to being shut out by others, to risk losing opportunities that you might otherwise have. When you take a risk, the upside pays out for the rest of your life, whereas the downside only costs you in that moment.
Now is the time to take risk. You don't have, you don't have kids. As you get older, your obligations increase. So and once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. So now is the time to do that before you have those obligations. So I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it.
It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win.
So when I sacrifice the present on the altar of the future, that's what I do when I'm taking a risk right now for a future gain. I'm sacrificing current pleasure on the altar of future benefit, right? I'm sacrificing now on the altar of the future. When I sacrifice my future on the altar of now, I waste my life. You know, when I'm getting blasted, getting drunk, and getting high, and having sex with anybody who will lay down with me, when I'm living my life like that, what I'm doing is I'm sacrificing my future on the altar of my present, and there's no way that ends well.
Some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Failure gave me an inner security that I had never attained by passing examinations. Failure taught me things about myself that I could have learned no other way. I discovered that I had a strong will and more discipline than I had suspected. The knowledge that you have emerged wiser and stronger from setbacks means that you are, ever after, secure in your ability to survive. You will never truly know yourself or the strength of your relationships until both have been tested by adversity. Such knowledge is a true gift, for all that it is painfully won, and it has been worth more than any qualification I ever earned.
You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That is not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. And I really think that that's true, right? I mean, a lot of people, I think that Whenever it comes to, whenever you get yourself into a position where you have to make some big shift in direction or do something, there are always people are going to point to the downside risks of that decision, and locally they're maybe right? I mean, for any given decision that you're going to make, there's upside and downside. But in aggregate, if you are stagnant and you don't make those changes, then I think you're guaranteed to fail, right? And not catch up. So to some degree, I think it's really right that over time, the biggest risk that you can take is to not take any risks.
The key mindset is the ability to take risk and be comfortable with taking risk. A lot of people, I find that the difference between doing it and not doing it is a lot of time it comes down to risk. When you do something, there are so many unknowns, you have to be comfortable with that. And you have to be comfortable with the fact that there's a really high probability that you're gonna fail.